Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Wright Experience. I'm Dr. William T. Wright Jr., the founder and host of this show. I'm absolutely excited tonight because I get to celebrate of sorts with one of my fraternity brothers and colleagues and a gentleman that I bounce a lot of stuff off throughout my career as leaders. I think he preceded me maybe a little bit getting into the superintendency, but let's just say we've been around for a while. And so tonight is kind of a culminating event, and we're also going to talk about some exciting work that he's done that we'll present to you tonight. But my guest tonight on the Wright Experience is Dr. J.R. Green. Dr. Green has spent the past 30 plus years working in K-12 education. During his tenure, he's held positions as a teacher, administrator, assistant principal, assistant superintendent, and superintendent. For the past 12 years, he served as superintendent of Fairfield County School District in South Carolina. The FSCD has realized tremendous enhancement to the district's curriculum offerings, built or improved multiple facilities, modified the salary schedule for classified and certified staff, and received multiple state and federal recognitions to include the 2020 State Teacher of the Year, 2022 National Blue Ribbons School of Excellence, and 2021, he was also nominated, Dr. Green was, and named, actually, the State Superintendent of the Year for the state of South Carolina. Dr. Green strongly believes that he is purposed to work with and inspire young people. Among the innovative initiatives he launched during his tenure was the Griffin Bow Tie Club, a comprehensive group mentoring program for middle and high school students. This program is centered around the 5 wells of leadership: well-read, well-spoken, well-traveled, well-dressed, and well-balanced. Within a few years of joining the district, Dr. Green was also responsible for overseeing the construction of the new Fairfield Career and Technology Center. The center is a state-of-the-art facility that has traditional classroom spaces, labs, an automotive center, barber and cosmetology suites, and a Megatronics and Project Lead the Way program. This center provides career and technical programs of study for students throughout the entire county. Dr. Green earned a Bachelor of Science, Master of Arts, Master of Education, and Doctorate in Education, all from the University of South Carolina. A Riley Leadership Institute Fellow, Dr. Green is involved in several civic and professional organizations, including the Omicron Iota Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, Alpha Iota Boule of Sigma Pi Phi fraternity, MUSC Board of Trustees, South Carolina Hospital Association Board of Trustees, Board of Directors for Midlands Education and Business Alliance, and United Way of the Midlands Board of Directors. Additionally, Dr. Green serves as a deacon at Mount Pisgah Baptist Church in Ridgeway, South Carolina. A native South Carolinian, Dr. Green currently resides in Winsboro with his wife Tanya and daughters Jamara, Janelle, and Jasiah. He impresses upon his students that education is the foundation of their future. Dr. Green leaves quite a lasting impression on others and enriches their lives with his noble deeds. And his philosophy is simply to do your best. And at this time, I'd like to present the Lifetime Achievement Award winner. Let's talk about that first, as well as some other things. My fraternity brother and colleague, Dr. J.R. Green. Welcome to the Wright Experience.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here. Well, appreciate you having me, brother.
So Dr. Green, it is certainly a pleasure. I'm celebrating with you, my friend. I've got some more years to go, but you are transitioning. We'll say it that way. because I know you're not done with education, but certainly transitioning out of the superintendency into advocacy. I know you're going to continue to advocate and do those kinds of things. So first of all, let me say congratulations to you. Congratulations to you for making that transition.
Doc, I appreciate that. Appreciate that. I mean, 12 years in the superintendency is something most definitely that we want to celebrate, as you know well. I always jokingly tell people you measure superintendent years like dog years, and really 12 years is the equivalent of about 98 years. And so 12 years, I am an old man in the superintendency.
Yeah. It's 11 for me. I just finished 11, and I thought you were in there maybe a year before me, and it has certainly been an interesting journey. What I'm really proud of, though, is you've done something that I aspire to do at some point. I haven't started yet, but you've created a book. To I think kind of chronicle the life of a superintendent and some of the experiences. And so talk to us about that. Let's get right into it. Talk to us about it. Tell us about the name of it, what inspired you to write it, those kinds of things.
Well, first of all, Will, this is the book here. Graveyard to Blooming Garden. It is a story of transformation and redemption. It is really about the cultural transformation that occurred in the Fairfield County School District over my 12-year tenure. And for those who may be asking about the title, so that is a relatively interesting title. It is. But prior to my arrival, former state superintendent of education, who's actually a Fairfield County resident, Dr. Jim Rex, referred to Fairfield County School District as the graveyard for superintendents.
Oh, okay.
And he wrote the foreword for my book and talks a little bit about what led to him making such a statement. And to kind of summarize it, he said that in his exasperation of talking about education reform all over the state of South Carolina, as he reflected on what was occurring in his home county, it was a revolving door of superintendents. We had 12 superintendents in 20 years prior to me arriving there. And while some may have been disappointed in the characterization, I think it would be hard to argue the facts. If you have gone through 12 superintendents in 20 years, there is a problem. And I had that conversation, quite honestly, with the board immediately after I was hired. And we began to have some honest dialogue about some of the changes that need to occur and the transformation, I think, that was much needed. And, I remember saying to them, if you keep hiring superintendents and firing superintendents, I think at some point we're going to have to acknowledge superintendents aren't the issue. It's similar to me being married 6 or 7 times, Will, and I keep saying I keep marrying the wrong wife. At some point in time, I might have to acknowledge I might be the wrong husband. And so there may be some things that I need to change. And so I appreciate the board as a body recognizing that we needed to go in a different direction relative to stability of leadership, because it is absolutely impossible to establish any kind of productive culture. It is impossible to get anything big done if you are changing leaderships that often.
So what do you think gave you, Dr. Green? I know the answer to this question before our audience. Let's say that. What gave you the staying power? What made you able, in your mind, to weather the storm? I don't know. Maybe it wasn't the weather in the storm, but what gave you the staying power?
Yeah. So and I have talked about this on a couple of of occasions, Will. The first thing is I was destined to be in Fairfield.
Okay.
And so some people think that's a bit of hyperbole, but if I tell them no, I mean, I think this is where God placed me. And if God placed you someplace, it can't help but be successful. But aside from that, because when I arrived here, it was still a very tumultuous time. And so we set out on a journey to transform the culture, a culture where there was no trust. People didn't trust one another. There was no belief that we could work towards a common mission, even though there may be some differences in the way we perceive things. And so I made a direct appeal to all stakeholders that this transformation would be a function of our collective efforts. And so our motto from my arrival was excellence through teamwork, reminding everyone that it is all of our responsibility to transform the lives of the young people that we serve. And Will, they absolutely bought into that philosophy that we were in this together. And so mamas and daddies and uncles and aunts and deacons and neighbors and teachers and school board members and principals, we all had a part to play in this transformation, and all had an obligation. And so my appeal to the broader community, to everyone who was involved in the system, to all stakeholders, I think really was the difference. I recall a board member said to me years ago when I first came, he said, "Man, you have done a very good job of getting the community to like you more than they like us." And I said, "Well, that was never really the goal, but I understand the point you're making, is that the community really drove the change." And so I remind people that I was no knight on shining armor, or some white horse who came in and just transformed things. I was simply a part of an effort, but the energy already existed within the people who were a part of the community. And so it has been an absolutely fabulous journey to be along for this ride.
So would you call that a kind of a cultivation, Dr. Green? Is because I haven't heard you talking about any light bulb stuff, but basically kind of embracing the community and getting involved, but also it's kind of like cultivating and making things better. Is that right? Am I right about
Yeah.
that?
So Will, there were a couple of foundational principles that I think drove the cultural transformation. And
Okay.
so from day one, I said everything that we do contributes to a culture of collaboration,
Yep.
competence, trust, and respect. And if we're doing something that doesn't contribute to competence, collaboration, trust, and respect, we need to really evaluate whether it should be occurring. And so we had something that we could constantly reflect back on as we thought about what this culture we were trying to create really looked like. And I'm a big culture guy. I mean, if I had to sum up the book is about cultural transformation and the impact that culture has on the success of an organization. Now, I do it through the context of our journey as a school district, but this could be transferred to any organization, a business, a church, a nonprofit, a community group, you name it. If you don't have a good culture, then you will not have sustained success. And in my book, I talk about culture is akin to the ground receiving seeds during the planting season. And if you don't have the ground prepared right and watered properly and fertilized properly, then you won't have thriving plants.
Mhm.
If you try to plant good seeds in barren soil, then we all know what's going to happen. And so we really focus, Will, on transforming the culture and creating the kinds of culture where success could happen consistently.
So when we talk about leadership, you've sat in the rooms just like I have. We focus on all of this stuff, right? We focus on having the right people in the right seats and all of that. But I just heard you say that you got to get that culture right, which I've been talking about for 26 years, JR. Getting that culture in place because you can build on all the rest of the stuff if you got that culture right, if you've got all-inclusive environments and things of that nature. So that's really what you're speaking to, isn't it? Am I right about
Absolutely.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, Doc. And you can have the right people in a bad culture and still have bad outcomes.
And it won't work like it
It
ought to.
won't work. It
Yeah.
won't work. I mean, it is about creating the kind of culture where success can thrive. And I'll tell you, young people are part of developing that, and they'll respond to you positively when the culture is the way that you aspire for it to be. Um, I told the story. I think I talked about it in the book, Will, that when I first got here, I developed a group called the Superintendent's Advisory Committee, and it was made up of students in grades 7 through 12. And the purpose of it was I wanted to get a firsthand account of their thoughts on the system, how the system was serving them, how the system could be improved. And I continue to meet with this group, even though the members of the group changed over the years. But one young man said during my first meeting, he said, Superintendent, sometimes I'm even embarrassed to share with people that I am from the Fairfield County School District
Mm.
because of all of the negative images that come out about our system, all of the drama associated with all the superintendent terminations. I mean, all of the negative things that we see. And I said, well, those things aren't your fault, first of all. Okay, those are a function of adults, not a function of young people. And I shared that with the board because I wanted them to understand how everything you do impacts the culture that is created for not only the staff, but for the students as well. And so it is essential that we create the right kind of culture so young people can even have pride in the system that has been designed to serve them.
That culture, we did a little bit of a talk on this in my district this week. That culture, though, requires a belief that you can be better. That's exactly what you just spoke to. You talked to that young person about we're gonna make this thing right so
Oh
that
yeah,
you can believe in who you are and where you come from. And I think that's so key.
yeah.
So so let's go here for a minute. How did you get to the point where you wrote the book? Did you know day 12 of your superintendency? I'm gonna write a book about this one day, or how did you get to that point?
Will, I think I always said at some point
Okay,
I'm going to chronicle this story.
okay,
But I really didn't begin to do anything until maybe 6, 7, 8 months ago,
okay.
as I began to really approach retirement and recognize that the end of my journey in Fairfield is within sight.
Right.
And I remember my wife and I were returning from somewhere. I can't remember where we were, but we were flying back. And as I was on the plane, I obviously had some time to think and reflect and do some writing. And I jotted down what the chapters of this book I think should include. And so I started with Scared Money Can't Win and All in the Family, this and that. I mean, all these different things that I think were a function of our cultural transformation. And by the time we landed wherever we were, I had about 95% of what I wanted the outline of the book to include. And from that point, I just tackled it kind of chapter by chapter. And you know, as you read the book, you'll see the first chapter is about what I titled My Inspiration, and why education is so important to me. Why I am so excited about young people's opportunity to change their trajectory based on this whole public education institution. And I talk about the fact that I come from a lineage where my grandmother never learned to read and write, and how that left an indelible impression on my life. How this institution of education led to my mother being the first college graduate in my family, and my father being the first college graduate in my family, and how that transformed their lives. And so it is very personal to me as I talk about the opportunities that we have as educators to really change the trajectory of the lives of the young people that we encounter.
Yeah, and that's a never-ending quest, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And even in retirement, you know, when people say, what you going to do in retirement? Well, I won't be the superintendent of the Fairfield County School District. I have no plans of being a superintendent anymore. You never can say never will. But I absolutely am not done impacting the lives of young people.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank goodness for that, because we're going to need you. Yeah. And do not change that phone number.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But got a guest that has a question. So I'll pose this one to you. I think this is a pretty good one. Yeah. How were you able to achieve continually across all facets of the organization? So I guess they're talking about as you matriculated through your career, including the 12 years as superintendent, I think.
Yeah. So Will, what I said is, I mean, I always put a focus on doing a great job where I was,
right, and
not necessarily focusing on where I wanted to go. And, you know, and I tell, you know, people young in their career that all the time. I said, well, you know, I'm talking, look back over my career and talk about what I did as a superintendent and assistant superintendent and a principal and assistant principal. I can talk about those things, but it starts with always focusing on doing the best job that you can where you are. And so if you're in a classroom and you're teaching, I mean, do the best job that you can, and do a jam up job as a teacher. And when you get in the role of assistant principal, you do the best job you can there. I mean, everything else take care of itself. The other thing that I was very blessed with is that I have always worked under the leadership and tutelage of people who were invested in my success. Yeah. And you can't take that for granted. You know, I tell folks all the time, if you aren't 100% positive that you are working under the leadership and guidance and tutelage of someone invested in your success, then you need to make a lateral move. You got to change. If Steve Wilson, who I just had lunch with today, when I served as an assistant principal at Keenan High School, if Steve Wilson did not see, was not willing to cultivate, was not willing to guide and advance my career to the extent that he did, it is very likely I wouldn't be before you today. But I suspect, Will, he saw quite a bit of himself in me. Yeah. As a young African-American administrator whom he wanted to cultivate and see be successful. And so my tenure at Keenan High School was not just about putting me in positions where I could help fulfill the mission of the organization that he was responsible for as the principal. I mean, obviously he wanted me to help fulfill the goals of the organization, because that was his responsibility as a principal. But he also took on the charge of, I want to make sure that I am cultivating and developing JR to be a good principal one day. I want to make sure that I am investing in his future success. So it wasn't from a selfish perspective of, well, let me see what JR can do for me right now. Also, it was, how can I help JR to be where he ultimately wants to be? And there are some people who are working under the guidance of people who aren't necessarily invested in their future success. I mean, I hate to just put it bluntly. They are interested in them simply helping to fulfill the goals of the organization based on where they are currently. And if you aren't working under someone who is interested in cultivating you for your future goals, then you might need to really give some thought to whether that's where you need to be.
And don't be afraid to do something else. Stretch out and do something else, right? Yeah, but you spoke to something that I've been talking about a lot, like a ton lately. Just as Brother Wilson, I could say that, Dr. Wilson, helped you, mentored you, motivated you, cultivated, tried to help you. Do we also have that same responsibility going forward? Now, I know you're retired, retiring.
Yeah.
But how do we do that? How do we make sure that happens? Because, I'm in the single digits, brother.
I'm
in the single digits for sure.
Yeah.
So how do we do that now?
Well, first of all, I'm a firm believer in the saying that to whom much is given, much is required. And for us who have been blessed with the opportunity to lead, it is incumbent of us to pour back in those who will eventually succeed us.
Yeah.
And so we all need to embrace not that opportunity, but that responsibility. It is our responsibility to do so. And so, as you said, for people like Steve Wilson, he relished his role in trying to develop future leaders. And so as I look at myself or somebody like Alvin Presley, who's superintendent at Newberry, we both worked under Steve Wilson as assistant principals at Kenyon High School. And so he fulfilled his responsibility of saying, well, I'm trying to help develop these young brothers. And the proof's in the pudding. I mean, now you see we go on to eventually become principals and eventually superintendents. And so I think we all will. And quite honestly, I'm not sure we all always embrace that.
Yeah.
Because you can get so consumed with the work. You can get just so consumed with it that you miss the opportunity and the responsibility to really cultivate the talents of those who help you get the work achieved.
Right. And I'll tell you what, on the flip side of that, there is no greater feeling than to know that, someone that you tried to help just a little bit is now successful. I know that folks like Dr. Wilson, folks like Dr. Green, J.R. Green, when you see those folks be successful, it's like, hey, that's all right. That's great. It makes the profession stronger. Hopefully, because of some small influence that we had. That's beautiful stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get back to the book for a minute. Tell us how we can get it. How do we go about getting it? Is there a website? How do we get the book?
Yeah, so several different ways, Will. First of all, the book can be ordered on my website, jr-green.com. jr-green.com. You can order it on other sites as well. BookBaby, which is
so just like that, JR?
Yeah, jr-green.com.
Okay, all right.
And that's my website that really shares information about my consulting and speaking services as well.
Okay.
It can be ordered at BookBaby, Amazon. There are multiple sites where it can be ordered. Some of those sites is still on pre-order status. In fact, I had someone from my church who told me they ordered the book about 2 weeks ago and still hadn't received it. As we dug into it, they had ordered it on Amazon and it was still on pre-order status on Amazon. And I told him, I said, well, yeah, it won't be released on Amazon, I think, until somewhere around mid-June. But had you ordered it from my site, you would have received it immediately. So, so it can be ordered on multiple locations. But if you want to ensure that you get it immediately, jr-green.com is probably the only place that I know you can get it now.
All right, man. Brother got his own website. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
So,
and Doc, let me just say something about my website. So my nephew, who does a lot of media work, he has his own little private business as well. Kendall Givens Little. He did the website not the website. He did the video on the website. The website was designed by another young brother who's doing some remarkable work by the name of Jalen Copeland. He did design the website. But my nephew, Kendall, he did the video that you'll see on the website. And so let me give both of those young brothers a shout out for doing some outstanding work. And I'm sure if you like what you see, they'll be happy to do some work for you as well. And so, yeah, absolutely.
Right, so you give me a plug to get my own website.
Oh yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Dr. Green, let's talk about this latest achievement. I think I read it or saw it online or something, but let me see if I can get this right. The South Carolina Association of School Administrators gave you recently, you earned, not they gave you, they didn't give you anything, you earned it. South Carolina Lifetime Achievement Award. Is that correct?
Yeah, Will, South Carolina Lifetime Achievement Award. And, actually, I was in North Carolina. Yeah, I appreciate that. I was actually in North Carolina attending my niece's master's graduation from speech pathology school at North Carolina Central.
Okay.
So she went to speech pathology school. At North Carolina Central. And while we were there, I got a call from Beth Phibbs, the executive director of South Carolina Association of School Administrators. And I wasn't able to receive the call because we were in the graduation exercises. But I called her afterwards with no idea why she was calling me. I mean, I figured it was just something going on. She wanted to get my insight or opinion or share some information. But she said, Jay, I'm calling to let you know that you were nominated, went before the committee, and was selected to receive the SCASA Lifetime Achievement Award. And Will, I was shocked. I mean, first of all, I didn't even know I was nominated. I didn't know that this vetting process was occurring. And for someone who has been involved with SCASA for, a long time, I mean, 20 plus years, I was just surprised that I would receive it. Not that I hadn't had a good career. I thought I had a, relatively impactful career. But generally, people don't get it in my age group, Will. I mean, so most of the people who get it are much further along than I am as relates to age. And in fact, I don't know this to be totally true, but someone told me that I am the youngest person to ever receive a SCASA Lifetime Achievement Award. So I hadn't verified that, but I'll tell you, over my years of seeing people who received it, I'm the youngest person that can recall receiving it. So, it's humbling that, first of all, I would be nominated to receive the Lifetime Achievement Award. That in and of itself is a humbling gesture that someone felt that my career rose to that level. And even further, that I was actually selected. And so they will recognize me and one other person down at the SCASA Summer Leadership on the last day of Summer Leadership on that Wednesday, as they do every year. So really looking forward to that. I'll have My wife, and I'm not sure if all my three daughters will be there, but there'll be some board members there. There'll be my mother will probably be there, and some family and friends. So obviously we'll celebrate what is a humbling recognition.
But well deserved, Dr. Green. Don't think for 1 minute that, first of all, they knew what they were doing. You've had an amazing career. You have gone to a place and have some amazing accomplishments in Fairfield, even before then, of course. But the work that you've done in Fairfield is a blueprint for
Yeah.
how to go into a community, and as you say, work on that culture and get in. And that turned into, we could go down the list and take all day, but the career centers and all those things that you've created, and then this latest thing where you've got housing now for teachers.
Yeah.
That's on the way, and all of that, and student achievement is up, and man, we could talk all night about that. So that's the way lifetime achievement awards ought to be given. When a person's still young enough to enjoy them.
Yeah.
So congratulations to you. I think that's an amazing accomplishment. I'm proud to call you my colleague and my fraternity brother, and all of that, and just proud of the career that you have set out. And we know this is not the end. Hopefully not even on being on the show. I think this is the third appearance or something that.
Yeah.
But we always appreciate having you here, and just want to congratulate you for the amazing work that you've done and continue to do, and will continue to do, I'm sure, on behalf of children all across the state of South Carolina and the nation. We already know that for sure. More to come, right?
Doc, I appreciate you having me, man. It has been a blessed journey. I couldn't have designed it any better. And people ask me, man, why leave now? I mean, things not going good. No, things are going great. And I'm turning it over to Dr. Tony Hemingway, and I've told him, Doc, I'm giving you a very good system with outstanding people, but you'll know when it's time. And so I knew, Will, that it was time for me to move on to the next phase of my journey, my next assignment, and so I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Dr. Green, I want to thank you for being a part of this Wright Experience show. I know that our audience certainly has enjoyed learning about it. And if you want to put that book up one more time and just let us know about it.
One more time, Don.
Yes, sir.
Graveyard, the Blooming Garden. Pick up your copy. You will not be disappointed. It's not a long read, a little less than 100 pages. And I think there are life lessons that you will learn from this, in addition to just learning about our cultural transformation.
Thank you very much, Brother Dr. Green, and to the Wright Experience audience, thank you for tuning in and joining us. Good evening.